Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Pelvis. I'm Laura Haraka, a somatic practitioner, breathwork facilitator, and someone who's been on the healing journey myself. I know what it's like to live with chronic symptoms and feel disconnected from your body, and I also know how powerful it can be when we start to listen, slow down, and heal from the inside out. On this podcast, we talk about the mind-body connection, nervous system healing, pelvic health, and all the messy, beautiful layers that come within learning to trust your body again. Whether you're brand new to this work or deep in your process, I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive in. So welcome back today to another episode of Beyond the Pelvis. And I am so excited to welcome someone incredibly special here today. She's a former client of mine whose journey through chronic pain has been nothing short of inspiring. So joining me is Cassie Barfield, who is a therapeutic counselor based in the UK, who integrates mind body work into her own practice, supporting others with chronic pain and persistent symptoms. She came to me toward the end of her own healing journey, and in her words, our work together helped her get over the finish line. She's here to share her story, her experience of healing, and the powerful transformation that happens when we learn to trust the wisdom of the body. So let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Cassie.
Hi, Laura. Hi.
We're so happy to have you here. And I'm just wondering if we can start off and if you can just share a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this space.
Okay. I think you shared a bit of it in the intro, really. Well, I had my own experience of pelvic pain. I was a client of yours towards the end of my journey. I had 9 years in total. It wasn't
Wow.
it wasn't constant. It was up and down, but it dominated 9 years of my life. I would say that was fair to say.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about maybe what you were experiencing, what were your symptoms, what happened to you?
Yeah, well, okay. So it started, something I think is really important to mention is when it started. And it started following an operation. I had a pelvic operation I had following the birth of my son. I had a bit of damage to my pelvic floor. So I had a mesh implant to kind of hold the muscles and give them more strength. And going into the operation, I'd probably about a year before that split up with my son's father.
There you go.
Had all of that going on as amicable as it ever is, it's still like, it's a massive event and there was a lot of stuff and emotions going around. So I had that going on the year before. Then I had this mesh operation, which was meant to be really simple, in and out in a day, all sorted. It was very much not like that. Literally I was on antibiotics the first week after I had the operation. Then as soon as I came off the antibiotics, I started getting UTIs.
Wow.
I started getting them, like I'd have one, I'd be on a 5-day course of antibiotics, I'd come off it within 2 days, I'd be back, have another infection. Then they started progressing to kidney infections. And this was just going on and on for weeks and then months. And then I was trying different antibiotics and I'd perceive them to stop working. And then I'd have a stronger course from the doctors. And then I don't know at which point they stopped being real UTI.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it showed up that these were actual infections on the tests. Two did. Okay.
And I
Important to talk about, right?
Really important, really important. I remember like being in the doctor's going, you must test it again, there's got to be something going on, there's got to be something going on. And the fear was increasing and the focus was increasing. And I was in the GPs and doctors all the time, like at least once a week, trying to, work out what the hell was going on, getting more antibiotics, getting more testing. And they were giving me more antibiotics each time because the symptoms were so severe. And on occasions, I'd have increased temperature as well. So they were just erring on the side of caution. So this was
Yeah,
going
I'm
on.
sure some of these tests you had done too. I'm just curious if you can tell us what tests did they do?
Well, I was just doing standard urine culture tests.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I started having blood work as well. I can't remember at what point, because I was going, have I got some kind of autoimmune disorder? Is there something more sinister going on? Am I lacking in something? It was just becoming this big mystery about why I was still having these symptoms and nothing was really changing. And the thing was, when I took the antibiotics, I would feel better, but like literally like that. I'd take it, and within a really short period of time, the same day, I'd start feeling better. And now antibiotics don't work like that. I don't generally. They take a bit of time to kick in. So
Right.
yeah. So that was going on. And then also at the same time, there was a load of I don't know if any of your listeners will be aware or you've had any other clients of the sort of controversy around the mesh implants, the sort of it's a
Mhm.
plastic polypropylene mesh that you put in your pelvic area. And it just started, the media hype had just started about how dangerous that was and how the negative effects of that, a lot of people having a lot of pain with it, a lot of internal infection. There was a whole load of fear going on around it. And some of it, mine was something different, but there were other women who did actually have nerve problems due to the mesh. So it was a time of a lot of fear around it. And I was like, I was fine before I had the mesh. I'm now not fine. It has to be the mesh. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I went and got the mesh removed at great cost to myself, thousands of pounds. In the UK, we pay national insurance. We pay insurance. We have the healthcare service paid for. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wouldn't take it out for quite a long period, and, like, I think they said another 6 months in this pain and trying to work it out and having lots of fear increasing because the antibiotics didn't seem to be working all the time, and so I chose to pay to get the mesh removed.
Yeah, and how could you have not been afraid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You were listening to the medical professionals, you went on antibiotics hoping to be better, and the day after, the antibiotics it seemed like, at least, the antibiotics stopped working. Yeah, we're making air quotes for those of you that are listening. It seemed like the antibiotics stopped working, so you just took what the next logical step was in your head to get the mesh removed, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Thinking it would be the answer, and of course I'm sat here, so we know it wasn't. 'Cause that would have been right? That would have been easy. And I think I had so much focus on it being the answer as well, like, and there was a lot of fear. If this isn't the answer, then what is? Like. And of course it
Right.
wasn't, because it continued. Worse, because the fear increased. Because I then didn't really know. I had no other avenues to go down about what the answer might be. That was the thing that I'd been holding my hope for.
Yeah, I'm sure your mind was catastrophizing at this point.
Yeah, yeah, there were, points I thought it was gonna be my end. This doesn't work, and I can't keep taking antibiotics, and they're getting stronger and stronger, and by perceiving them stop working, then where does this end?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was a really dark time, and this is probably a good time to mention all the other symptoms that I had around that time, because
Yeah,
that
please do.
it was a time of increased fear, like to demonstrate what the mind, the mind can create. I had really bad tinnitus. I had itching all over. It was driving me absolutely crazy. I was constantly itchy. I had blurred vision as well, which was really strange. And my hearing as well, I couldn't be anywhere that was loud. It was just everything, like it was magnified. It was like I was in a swimming pool the whole time, like when you're really sort of loud spaces, and even someone talking felt like really jarring.
Yeah, your nervous system was, like, really hypersensitive now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had all the pelvic stuff going in, urinary frequency, urgency, leaking, pain, I had a whole load of stuff going on. All this time I was just constantly bouncing around medical professionals trying to find an answer, paying privately, seeing all these different people because I couldn't get the answers in the NHS. Trying to just find some answers, and no one really knew. There's lots of people had different theories, and everyone, I must say, on my journey was well-meaning. People wanted to really help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I saw loads of holistic therapists as well, and again, really well-meaning people really wanted to help. And actually, if I just calmed down my nervous system and listened to some of them, it probably would have worked. But at the time, I was
Yeah.
convinced it was an infection. Still, absolutely convinced.
You thought something was physical,
Yeah,
physically wrong with you.
yeah.
Yeah. So what helped you to make the switch? What happened?
Well, it did end there because I found someone who would treat it as an infection, and it's probably a name the community will have heard, pelvic pain community will have heard, and that's Professor Malone Lee, and he's based in London in Harley Street, and he is, he really wants to help as well. He was my experience, he was a really good guy who really wanted to help, but the way he saw it was high dose antibiotics. It was an embedded infection that was not showing up on tests because it was low level anyway.
And that's important because I have a lot of clients that say, "Oh, I have an embedded infection." So I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yes, and that's the theory around it. Embedded infection, it's not showing up on standard tests. He tested the urine a different way, which was to do with certain cells showing. I can't remember the exact, but mine never tallied up with my symptoms anyway. So that, even looking back, didn't make sense to me. I was
Yeah.
so convinced that I needed these antibiotics. He was gonna give them to me, that was it. Eventually, it would run its course and it would be okay. A really in-depth culture at that time with another doctor, they send the culture off and they do it for days. Broth culture, that's what it's called, I think, and it came back with a couple of bacteria in it. So, of
Right.
course. But, like, if you do that with most people's urine, I've since found out, you're gonna find something in there.
Yeah. Say that again. Say that again. If
You're
you
gonna
do
find something
something
there. It's not a sterile environment. Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Okay, I know.
exactly.
So, I spent, 5 years on high dose antibiotics.
My goodness.
It was pretty full on, and all that time I didn't have pain, but I did have a lot of, frequency and urgency, bloat and sort of pressure and bloating. So it never really fully went, and I was always completely obsessed by it because I didn't wanna be on the antibiotics. Doing different diets, still seeing holistic practitioners, paying for this Harley Street professional. It was still
Right. Who wants to be on high dose antibiotics for the rest of their life?
it's not sustainable, right?
It's not good for us all the time.
Which is what happened. I had a massive allergic reaction to those antibiotics,
Oh my goodness.
which was the worst thing and the best thing that could have happened because it made me come off of them. I had no choice. I had to not rely on them anymore. And it was terrifying. I was absolutely terrified that I can't take antibiotics anymore. If I get an infection, what do I do? So the fear was like back up there again. And I found TMS at this point. I found a fellow sufferer called Dawn, I'll name drop her because she'll hear this,
Mhm.
introduced me to Nicole Sax's work.
Nice.
And we was in a holistic Facebook group about how to cure IC, that's what we were calling
Mhm.
it, naturally. But everyone was still like, you need to not eat this, you need to take natural supplements. And there was still a lot of fear, really good, well meaning people who had gone past it, but the point was being missed about the nervous system regulation, the fear, etc. Because there was still a lot of fear there, and people trying this and that and hoping that would sort it or that would sort it. This is
Yeah.
where I met my friend who introduced me to Nicole, and the same week I found out about Nicole's work, I went symptom free for a week,
My goodness.
which was
How amazing is that?
but a week later,
A week later. Okay, what happened next?
back again. Well, I
Okay.
kind of got TMS in my head. I'm doing everything I do full force. I go into it, I'm researching it, I'm living, I'm breathing it. So I'm watching Gambuglio, I'm listening to all the success stories. Success stories got me through, which is another reason I wanted to do this, because the amount of times I've listened, which is how I found you.
Right. Oh, so you found me on a success story.
Found you on Gambuglios.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, you listen to them all the time, over and over and over, doing the work, doing the journaling, doing the regulation, but there was still and I did get better actually with it, but I was
Mhm.
also still doing dieting and supplements at the time. So I hadn't fully there was still a bit of me that was still going, "I don't believe it quite enough to let."
Right. So notice you were still living in both worlds, but through Nicole's work and Dan's work, you were seeing improvement.
Yes, definitely. I was believing I was 85% there. I was like, "This makes sense." All the evidence was pointing that way, but because of this long journey and being completely medicalized for so long, just couldn't quite let go of that narrative.
Yeah.
But
So you started believing through their work, through Dan's videos, through Nicole's Facebook group, that your symptoms were most likely TMS up to about 85%. Yeah.
yeah, and that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah, you don't need 100% belief to
Yeah,
start the process.
yeah, and I did get better. I did get better for a while, and then I met my new partner. And in
Mhm.
the meantime, I'd been filled with like reading. It had never been a problem for me before, but I'd been reading a lot of information about a lot of women couldn't have intimacy.
Mhm.
Intimacy would cause a problem and cause a flare and blah blah blah. So hey presto, that became my truth, and it had
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
before. So, so I had a massive flare then. Again, I got it under control with a bit of TMS work, a bit of dieting, a bit of supplements. So I was all still doing the mix.
Mhm.
And then about 6 months later, it went bang. It went absolutely
Mm.
full on, really bad, loads of pain, and it was radiating into my glutes and down the back of my legs and my lower back, and I was finding it really hard to sit, and all my usual stuff wasn't working. I'd have periods where I'd go up and down, it'd get a little bit better and I'd calm, and then it would peak,
Mhm.
and I was just getting more and more fearful that my old stuff wasn't working,
Right. Yeah.
which is when I found you.
Right. And I remember you having those symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's okay, if we could, just to talk about a little bit about our work together? Like, and what resonated with you? What helped? What was the light bulb, some light bulb moments or aha moments that worked for you?
Yeah. One, that you'd been through it was really valuable to me, like done that journey and then just seeing you on the other side of it and where you were was like gave me a kind of trust in you.
Yeah,
Well,
true. You know, people tell me that just by talking to someone that has gone through the same experience and understands can be very helpful.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I was doing a lot of the emotional processing. I was a therapist at this point, so I never
Right.
done the work, inside
But
out.
therapists can get chronic pain too. We are human beings, right? And therapists can get chronic pain too.
Yeah, and I think there was a bit of shame around that actually, going, I should be able to get my head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there was more pressure, I think, because of that actually.
I would agree. I would agree. There's sometimes a shame in what we do that, I mean, someone told me the other day because I got angry at someone, you're a breathwork facilitator. Why couldn't you use your tools? And I'm like, well, breathwork facilitators can get angry too.
Yeah. And I don't really it wasn't like I didn't have awareness of emotions at all. I needed someone to be with me. And I think the somatic work. So one was really valuable. Actually, the key thing as well was about the infection hypothesis. You emailed Dr. Schubiner for me, Howard Schubiner for me, and
Yes,
he
I
was
did.
and really put some calm around that for me. And I also spoke to Gigi Cockell at this point as well. She's on the
Yeah,
circuit. She did biology at Oxford, one of the big universities here. So and just had a little consultation with me, and she really put my mind at rest about it. So that was really
right.
helpful. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we trained in that area as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. So, do you believe, I'm just curious, the somatic experiencing sessions were one of the, yeah, you're shaking your head, was one of the main things that, because that's what my main thing is, somatic experiencing,
It was
right?
to be able to sit and just experience those emotions. I remember I'd come out of sessions and be symptom free. It was
Yeah,
just
we
like
did. I remember.
yeah, it's just like I could lay everything down and you could hold it. You could hold that space, and I didn't have to. It was just taking the narrative out of it and putting completely coming into the body was just the key that I needed, and the breath work that you taught me as well. They were the
Yeah.
2 yeah, that was in the session, in the moment, were so valuable, and the VU breath, I still do it now, I do it with loads of my clients.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Somatic experiencing was the tool and breath work that helped me heal. You know, there was the belief that I needed behind it, just like you got from Nicole and Dan and Gigi probably a little too. But, knowing that, there are other tools out there like somatic experiencing, breath work that can really help embody the emotions and regulate the nervous system.
And there was something about doing it with you as well, rather than because I knew it objectively, and the stuff I was really aware of, and actually doing it with someone else who could hold the space made quite a big difference. They could just let go that little bit more. It felt safer.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because as you know now, it's really about having safety and creating a safe of safety because when the brain doesn't think we're safe and it thinks we're in danger, it creates pain.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gotta do all the emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So using these techniques, you're feeling well today.
I am. Brilliant today. Yeah, it's been a long time. I've been good for a long time. Yeah, it's been transformative, and I've since, this is what
E-
brought me. I was already a therapist, but this has brought me into the mind body world as well. It's like, wow,
Exactly.
amazing. If I could do
And
this for someone else.
yeah, and I'm sure you wanna help other people with this now as well because
Yeah.
of all the knowledge you know, and I'm just curious, looking back, you said in the beginning of this podcast about the antibiotics helped, and the second you got off, they stopped. And I'm curious, looking back now, do you think the antibiotics made you feel safe, or do you
Yeah.
think it was the placebo effect, or a little of both?
I think there was a turning point. I think they were working. I think there was a genuine infection to begin with. I'm not sure whether the turning point was, but because my belief was so strong in chronic infection hypothesis, that was my answer: antibiotics. They absolutely. I'd even have them even if I had them, I'd feel better in the house.
Exactly, exactly. So if you had to state why your chronic pain came to be, you don't believe it was the infections, you don't believe it was the mesh. So what did you believe that it was now?
Fear and emotions, mainly
Yes.
fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the ongoing fear of something and the unprocessed emotions that you were feeling and maybe being disconnected from your body, because I know the somatic experiencing brought you into your body.
And it's hard to be in your body when it's you feel like it's betrayed you, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think I had lost contact with that, very much so.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Because one of the reasons we have chronic pain is due to the disconnection from our body.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you learned from having having had this chronic pain, which I'm so thrilled to say? Like I'm smiling. For those of you that are listening and not watching, I'm smiling from ear to ear. So I'm just curious about some of the things you learn now moving forward and how that affects how you treat people in your clients and how you've moved on in your own life. So, what are some of the things you've learned?
Yeah, meeting my own needs and other people meeting their own needs and giving themselves space and boundaries and kindness and self-compassion.
Yeah,
That's the big things. Boundaries and meeting your needs are so important and allowing those uncomfortable emotions.
yeah,
They
true.
just need to come and they just need to have their time and they'll slip away again, you know? It's like those
Exactly.
things for sure, isn't it? They slip hang.
Yeah, emotions, we get scared as people that haven't felt emotions when we get disconnected, that these emotions feel so scary. But the truth of it is, as a therapist and now what you do, the emotions go up, they rise just like they would as a wave in the ocean, and eventually they go back down.
And when you have a chronic condition, you're fearful of stress. You get fear of the fear,
Mhm.
which just magnifies it. So it's about letting that go,
Yeah, yeah. So how were you able to not be fearful anymore?
doing the work.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, doing the work and seeing the results. I think a lot of people, that's their main obstacle
Yeah.
is, there's a lot of fear around it. And I believe if we can just notice the fear and you said it with compassion and validate that it's okay that we're scared. Who wouldn't be scared of these symptoms?
Quite,
Yeah.
quite. It's like it's alarm system, isn't it? That's what it's meant to do.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious. You healed your pain
Mhm.
using the somatic experiencing, using different breath works, and plus, really coming to even a stronger belief probably at that time. I'm assuming it went from 85% even more.
Yeah.
So, what did you, as a professional therapist, decide you wanted to do at that point?
Train.
Exactly.
I trained, yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about that training and what you did.
So I trained with the Pain Reprocessing Centre with Alan Gordon's setup, and did lots of somatic work, somatic course, which was really informative and brilliant and really inspiring. And then more recently, I've trained with SERPA, who are a UK organisation. Just
Absolutely. With George Yorfield.
That's it. They're amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's great because because you can feel a bit on your own in the world of therapy, and they've got a good team of people, and it's
Yes.
group visions and stuff. So it's nice and supportive. And yeah, so I've done their level ones and level two training so far. I will go on to their level three at some point. Yeah, so I've done a lot of training, gained a lot of knowledge, and that's where I work now.
Right, so you're a certified PRT,
Yeah.
correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you took something that felt like, "Oh my god, you were in this hole for 9 years," and you took it and you learned from it, and now you're helping other people.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to have something good come of it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Because we think when something happens, it's the worst thing that's happened to us, right?
absolutely. And I remember someone said to me one day in the pain, well, one day you'll be grateful for this. And I'm like, say that to me. How can I be grateful for this? This is awful. But yeah, it was literally one of the best things that happened to me. And I know there'll be people out there cursing me for that as well.
No, well, let's face it, it's hard to see what's happening when something is happening in our body and it hurts. It's really hard to be grateful for it until we're on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for people listening out there, I'm just curious maybe what are some of the tips or things you could tell them, or how now this has affected your personal life now going
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah, I mean, my tips on for recovery would be one of my big ones, and I hear this a lot, is come away from the Facebook groups, the ones that are related to your condition, because, yeah, it just feeds that negative fear cycle the whole time. You just get to suffer together.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. When I was on the Facebook groups, I developed the ones about chronic pain, obviously. When I was on those, it just had me focus on the pain
Yeah.
and focus on the negative. And it didn't allow me to focus on hope and success stories and what was happening in the world besides pain.
I lost you then for a minute. My Zoom shut down and started again. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So it's just when we're stuck in those Facebook groups, we're
Yeah.
focusing on maybe how to manage our pain. But what you're telling me today is we don't have to manage our pain. We have to get off those Facebook groups and focus on things that give us joy and hope.
Joy and hope, and listen to the success stories, listen to the good stuff. You get the belief going, it keeps your mood up. It helps the belief. So many so many people out there who's healed through this work now. There's so much information. Get educated.
Mhm.
Find out about it. There's papers. There's medical studies now. It's not woo woo. It's actual real. You know treatment. It's been proved. Yeah,
So,
and look after yourself.
and excuse me?
Look after yourself.
Yes. We don't give ourselves enough self-care.
Yeah.
And it's because a lot of times, and you probably know as a therapist, that there's beliefs behind resting. There's
Yeah.
beliefs behind giving ourselves self care. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have to look at the beliefs why we're not giving ourselves self care and understand that the truth about self care is it's almost non negotiable.
It is. I'm glad you said those words actually, because I've got non-negotiables now, and that is, I've got a dog. I walk my dog twice a day, and that has been amazing. Like, so I'm out in nature. I see local people who've also got, so there's connection and there's the bilateral movement. It's really calming and gives me focus. Yoga is a non-negotiable for me now, because even, I might be really resistant to get on the mat some days, but as soon as I've done it, even if it's just gentle 15, 20 minutes, I feel
Right.
so more grounded and connected to myself.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. People say sometimes that I don't have time to do self care. But when I started making self care, and that doesn't mean going for a massage, it could mean that, but it could mean just going outside, putting your feet in the ground, listening to the birds. And when I take breaks in my life, and you can tell me if the same things happen for you, I actually get more done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So self-care, getting off the Facebook groups,
Yeah. Look up, boundaries and your needs are so important. Yeah.
boundaries.
Are you giving too much time? Where's your energy going? Are situations meeting your needs? Are you asking for your needs to be met? Are you giving too much? It's all the standard personality traits of people pleasing and perfectionism.
About that for a moment. You said about people pleasing and perfectionism. Were those
Yeah.
traits that you had?
Not perfectionism, nowhere near. Let's just write that off, but yeah, I see it a lot. I see it a lot in the therapy room, but people pleasing, definitely. Yeah, definitely giving a lot and, feeling I had to, so there's a lot of conditioning around that, culturally in my family and societal as well, and in my profession. So really standing back and having boundaries around my space and my needs has been absolutely vital. My peace is so important to me now,
Right.
and I protect it ferociously.
Exactly. And like I like to use the word now with my clients, non-negotiable.
Yeah, yeah,
It's non-negotiable to give ourselves self-care
yeah,
and compassion and love.
yeah. You're gonna get ill if you don't, it's gonna come back or something else is gonna happen. It's like
Exactly.
your whole system.
Exactly. And you said something now. It's going to come back if you don't.
Yeah,
So, you've been feeling good for quite a while, enough that you now are certified in PRT and have had other trainings with SERPA, which I so applaud you for because we need more people that do this work,
yeah.
right? But it's so hard sometimes to keep, a maintenance plan up. So I'm just curious, how do you continue to keep yourself feeling okay.
Where there's well, if I don't, I know this is my humour, but if I don't, I can, my, pelvic pain or maybe I get a bit of shoulder pain, it's like my barometer now if I'm not doing what I need to be doing for myself. I
Exactly.
I'm like, "Ooh, I know what you yeah, okay, I need to step back here. What am I not doing for myself? What space do I need to create? What needs aren't being met?"
Exactly. And I notice how you just said that. You go, there was no fear there.
No, it's almost like the pelvic it tries different places now. It's all like my system's almost given up on the pelvic pain 'cause it's so like it tries in my back sometimes and it tries in my hands. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And just to even normalize that for a moment, because you're a therapist, right? That it's okay if we get, you help people with chronic pain. Let's say it this way. You and I can't stop the world from having pain, nor should we, because pain is not a bad thing. We don't want to touch a hot stove and get burned. We need pain. And I loved how you said it's a barometer now.
Yeah, 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 I know. It tells me.
Yeah, yeah. So just to even normalize for a moment that it's okay to get pain every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're human, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're all human beings and it's okay to get pain. And when we realize, besides, unless it's a physical burn, obviously we're going to treat that. But if we get a little ache or a pain, we can use it as a signal and not go into fear and be like, oh, I wonder, what I'm disconnecting from.
Yeah. The answer's never far away, I find.
Yeah, yeah. So there's always that inner knowing, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Very tuned into it now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm kind of curious if there's looking back now at your
Mm.
whole journey, because you've went through a lot, and if there's someone starting the journey, in the middle of the journey, at the end of the journey, right? I'm wondering if there's anything you would want to say to them. Any tips or any techniques or anything at all, any encouraging words?
Yeah, I like mainly keep the faith, like do it's like I've been in the most excruciating pain like I've ever had, apart from childbirth. It's pretty close to that sometimes actually.
Yeah, childbirth is not easy.
And, I just, the most excruciating pain cannot be a biological reason. So please, like, keep the faith and know that it's possible for recovery. It really is. I'm a living example of that. And there's many, many people out there who also recovered. And I know it can feel dark, but keep reaching out, keep listening to success stories, keep doing whatever work works for you, or it's somatic work or journaling or whatever. Keep giving yourself space and care and reach out if you need to people out there.
Yeah, we're not meant to go through this journey alone.
No, it's a lonely journey. It's really isolating. It's a hidden disability, isn't it? It's so isolating.
Yeah, it can be very isolating. And, I want to make a point. You're a therapist, right? And I'm an SEP, breathwork facilitator. And when we need to in our life, whether it's chronic pain or something, that we're going through, right? What's the one thing that it's good to do is reach out for support.
Yeah, yeah. We all need that connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Support is one of the most important things that we can have. It doesn't matter what job you do, everybody needs support in life. We're not meant to human alone.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm kind of wondering if people wanted to find you, if they want to find you through email or Instagram or a Facebook page or whatever it is you use, a website, how could they find you if they'd like to reach out to you, maybe to, use your services?
Yeah, that would be my website. And so, yeah, I have a website which I can give you the details for. It's Cassandra, my practice, because my Cassandra is my full name, but I'm called Cassie, but Cassandra is my business name as well, Cassandra Barfield. But yeah, I can give you those details to put in bio if you want.
Yes, I will definitely put everything in the show notes. And I just want to end with this has been my honor and my pleasure to work with you. And it makes me so happy to see that you are doing so well. And to even hear your story going from 9 years of chronic pain to coming to this world of the mind body, which is not an easy thing to do. And now getting certified with PRT and through SERPA, and now wanting to help other people. And I am thrilled that the somatic experiencing has helped you, the breath work has helped you, and I am just so happy to have you sitting here in front of me, knowing that you don't have to have and live with chronic pain anymore.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, thank you for getting me over the line, like, really. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And no,
yeah.
we're always here, to support each other. And I am so proud of you as well for sharing your story because it's not easy to do what Cassie did today, to share these symptoms because we do it. And I'll share what she just said, and I'll end with what she shared in the beginning.
Mhm.
She did this because she really wants to help other people. And that's genuine because her hope is to help other people heal even just by hearing this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And to be on a success story rather than listening to them is just, like, amazing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, Cassie, I want to thank you for being on the podcast today. I am so happy you were here today, and it was my pleasure to interview you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Beyond the Pelvis. I hope it gave you something to think about, feel into, or just a reminder that you're not alone on this path. If you're looking for deeper support, check out the Pelvic Healing Circle, a live guided space with somatic practices, breath work, and a real conversation to help you feel more grounded and connected to your body. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, leave a review, or come say hi. I love hearing what resonates. Until next time, keep listening to your body and be gentle with yourself. You're doing